we got two guys going at each other, Antonio Brown and our old friend Lane Kiffin. Can you clarify what's going on, Caleb? I don't know if we're doing screen sharing or what we're doing here, but we got Lane versus Antonio in the battle of the ages on Twitter, X, Musk, whatever you call it.
Yeah, this was the great story of the weekend before, if you were following outside of the College World Series, obviously. And it ties into something we talked about last week. I am not going to screen share this Twitter feud because Antonio Brown used some language that we just don't want to use on this show. But basically, this all started, and we actually talked about it last week with the Kelly Stafford story, where she acknowledged that she dated, quotes,
hooked up to Joe Cox while she was dating Matthew Stafford.
Allegedly Joe Cox. We don't know. It could have been another backup. We just know it was a backup at
I
Georgia.
saw where it came out. It was confirmed, but who cares?
So, anyway. Yeah, so Antonio Brown
tramped around with somebody.
Antonio Brown tweeted out a picture of Joe Cox and said, "Cracker of the day." Lane Kiffin retweets Antonio Brown with a maybe and a wandering emoji, suggesting that it may not have been Joe Cox and Lane Kiffin knows who it really was. That's where I got. That's the vibe I got with that. Then it got real personal because
which, by the way, where does Lane Kiffin rank among people you don't want to get into a Twitter battle with?
Ooh,
he's top 10%, right?
Yeah, he's definitely top 10%. Definitely top 10%. So Antonio Brown retweets Coach STFU, which means Coach shut the F up, basically, to Lane Kiffin. As I think we all know, Lane Kiffin is not one to take Twitter shots lying down. Am I right?
He doesn't like to be trifled with on the social media.
Yeah, he really doesn't. So Lane Kiffin retweets Antonio Brown. He retweets Antonio Brown taking off his shirt and running off the field and puts the clown emoji with the okay. So it was like, okay, clown. It gets better because Lane Kiffin then, and I mean, this is absolutely hilarious, but Lane Kiffin then, sorry, I'm trying to pull it up now, retweets somebody making fun of Antonio Brown for being broke. Basically said Lane Kiffin's enjoying coaching in the SEC while Antonio Brown is filing for bankruptcy, because guess what? Antonio Brown is filing for bankruptcy. Antonio Brown then goes a little personal and goes, "Your wife next, B word, F her Indian style."
Whoa.
One Lane
I don't even know what Indian style is, and I don't want to know, but that is too personal for the Twitter.
Yeah, I know. And then Lane Kiffin blocked Antonio Brown, and Antonio Brown goes, "Generational run continues." Yeah, this Lane Kiffin retweeted somebody that said, "Lane's making millions a year while you're struggling to pay child support." Said that to Antonio Brown.
Who has the younger girlfriend, Lane or Antonio Brown?
I don't know if Antonio Brown has a girlfriend. I'll tell you this, Lane's girlfriend, whatever you think about it, she's at least probably consenting.
Did Antonio Brown have a consent issue in his past?
Remember when he was released by the Patriots?
Oh. Jimmy says Lane turned in his free complimentary Infinity demo trashed out at the Knoxville dealership. I think that might have been a Mercedes. Smoky Mountain Red says, I like Lane, but he is way too worried about his Twitter cred.
Wait, so I want to ask a couple of questions on this. First of all,
ask you, is he a goofball for even engaging? I mean, he is an SEC coach. Antonio Brown's a guy without a job.
Antonio Brown is a broke guy without a job who wants attention on Twitter. Yeah. Who is probably one of the most disgraceful human beings in America right now, but I still enjoy his Twitter because it's hilarious. So I can't help myself. It's like before he passed away, I was actually following OJ's Twitter, and OJ's a horrible human, but like his Twitter was funny. I couldn't help myself.
Hello to the world. I killed a couple people.
But so Antonio Brown is probably one of the most low character disgraces of a human, just piece of garbage out there. But his Twitter's too funny for me to ignore. I gotta say that So I'll go in the vacuum of who won it later. But yeah, as far as Lane Kiffin engaging with Antonio Brown, given how low grade and low down of a person Antonio Brown is, it's kind of pathetic for Lane to engage with them. But at the same time, and I said this last week, Dave, why do we I trashed Deion Sanders earlier in the year for getting into Twitter wars with athletes. I trashed Eli Drinkwitz for being a goofball. We trashed Brian Kelly for those weird recruiting videos he does. Why do I trash all of them? And I'll admit, I'm a hypocrite. So can you psychoanalyze me? Why am I, when Lane Kiffin does it, why am I enjoying it and like giving him a pass and finding it funny?
You're schizophrenic.
I'm schizophrenic.
You said psychoanalyze. I don't know. I mean, I think Lane is lighthearted about it, and that helps us accept it more. I mean, he doesn't go overboard. He doesn't say things that are mean-spirited. He just kind of pokes fun.
Oh, he made fun of Antonio Brown for being bankrupt and not being able to pay child support. It's a little mean-spirited. Not that Antonio Brown didn't deserve it.
Well,
but
that's public knowledge, and you're coming after me, then you're going to get that right back. I mean, that ain't overboard. To me, what he did was overboard, the personal thing. You'll never go overboard with TriStar hats. You need to go there and get as much as you can. For the latest in TriStar hats, go to the original. It's right down below, tristarhatsco.com, tristarhatsco.com. We'll give away weekly prizes, including that NCAA t-shirt, which is finally getting printed. My apologies to those that have ordered. They will be out this week. Also want to thank our friends at Quality Tire Pro. The Eberle family has been serving Chattanooga's community since 1957. All major brands of tires, all automotive work, brakes, alignments, oil changes, and more. All work is covered by a nationwide warranty. They're at Cherokee Blvd, or go to qualitytirepros.com, qualitytirepros.com. Again, just below. And we have breaking news in the message board that OJ didn't kill anyone.
I think that's a troll, obviously. But by the way, this is relevant because I want to, speaking of news, Dave, you tell me if this is relevant. Ole Miss within the last 24 hours has suffered 3 decommitments since this Lane Kiffin weekend in Twitter war with Antonio Brown. And one of them is 5-star wide receiver Jerome Miles, Antonio Brown's wide receiver. Then edge rusher Corey Amos, and another wide receiver, Dylan Alfred. So he's lost 2 receivers, including a 5-star.
Okay, so the question is this, are you asking me if this Twitter war is related to losing commitments? Yes. Oh, yes, no. No, it's not.
You don't think it is?
I don't think it is. And if
Antonio Brown is paying him to decommit?
Well, I mean, if a kid like that, I don't know that he has the money, but if a kid like that is going to base his opinion off a Twitter war, I don't know that I want him to be a part of my program. You want Apex Apparel Group to be a part of your business, just call Tyler and get a great shirt like this. Look at that logo. It looks fantastic. Embroidered 865-919-3001. 865-919-3001. Call Tyler at Apex Apparel Group Design. In the end, who would you most want to kick it with for a weekend?
Which coach or which person between Lane Kiffin and Antonio Brown?
Antonio Brown or Lane Kiffin.
Antonio Brown's a horrible human, but I'd rather kick it with Antonio Brown. He's probably hilarious in one-on-one conversations. He probably says some of the funniest stuff that would just have me laughing. Lane Kiffin seems like he's really awkward in one-on-one scenarios. I mean,
but I think Lane would be fun if he wasn't in a group of like 10 or more people. I would like to one-on-one. I would like to sit down and just pick Lane's brain about football and just have it on a big screen. I can't think of anything that I would want to do with Antonio Brown other than see a movie. Right. Other than see a movie, so I don't have to talk to him.
You know who Lane Kiffin is, right? You know who he is. And here's a great analogy. Lane Kiffin is the 50 Cent. Sorry?
Rain Man?
No, he's the 50 Cent of college football. And here's what I mean by that. For those who aren't in the weeds of hip-hop fandom, when rappers diss other rappers, it's common, but if someone's constantly dissing other rappers, they start to look lame and like losers because it's like now you're just jealous of everybody. But we all give 50 Cent a pass for just dissing everybody in hip-hop. He just talks trash about everybody, and we're all like, it's 50 though. It's kind of funny when 50 does it. But if anybody else did it, we would criticize it. We're that way with Lane. It's like Lane acts like a child on Twitter, And we're all kind of like, ha, Lane, hilarious. If any other coach did that, we'd be like, that's unbecoming of a head coach.
Well, we would, and you wouldn't want Josh Heupel to do that, I don't think. But I think he's more Rain Man. I think he looks at the toothpicks that have fallen on the ground, like he looks at a defense, and he says, I know exactly where to attack it. And 62, 60, 162, 162 toothpicks. I think for those that have seen the Rain Man movie, he had a little bit of trouble interacting with people. I think Lane has some trouble with that. So obviously he's not that strong. But I think he looks at a defense and sees it in levels that we don't see, Caleb. I think Josh Heupel does too. So as far as hanging out with him, I mean, what would you and Antonio Brown do? Go around? I mean,
Just make
you're a dad now. You're going to go pick up chicks?
No, I just make jokes with Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown probably is just makes a ton of jokes all the time. And I like childish humor. I love childish humor. And so me and Antonio Brown
Like
could take
Pee Wee Herman. Pee Wee Herman might well be a show that I share with my kids.
I mean vulgar childish humor.
Oh, okay. Like Dumb and Dumber.
Family Guy. Think Family Guy.
Love Family Guy.